Hey guys, in this video we are going to go over page 9, Notes, Solving One-Step Equations. Go ahead and pause the video, update your table of contents, and take the half sheet on page 9, please. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with page 9. An equation is a mathematical statement comparing two expressions using the symbol, the equal sign. When you solve an equation, the solution produces a true statement when substituted for the variable in the equation. Solving an equation involves using properties of equality to write simpler equivalent equations, which all have the same solution as the original equation. So let's go ahead and look at the four properties. So we have first the addition property. Then we have the subtraction property. Then we have the multiplication property. And finally, we have the division property. In words, the addition property says when we see multiplication, we use addition to undo whatever it is we're trying to undo to solve for. So we see subtraction, we use addition to undo that. So let's look at an example. If I have x minus 3 equals 12, so that's my equation. It has an equal sign. So we can draw a line down the middle of the equation. We see subtraction, so we see minus 3. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to use addition, and we're going to add 3 on both sides. So when I add 3 on both sides, I get that x is equal to 12 plus 3, which is 15. So I can use the substitution method. I can substitute 15 back into my original equation. So I can do 15 minus 3 equals 12. 15 minus 3 is 12, and 12 does equal 12, so we know we did it right. Let's go ahead and look at an example of subtraction. So the subtraction property, when we see addition, we use subtraction. We're always doing the opposite. So what if we had the equation x plus 1 equals 2? So x plus 1 equals 2. I see addition, so I'm going to draw my line, and I'm going to use subtraction. I'm going to do the opposite, and I'm going to subtract 1. So x is equal to 2 minus 1, which is equal to 1. And then quickly I can substitute that 1 back in for x. 1 plus 1 equals 2. And 1 plus 1 does in fact equal 2. So that is correct. 2 does equal 2. Next, we have multiplication. When we see division or a fraction, we're going to use multiplication to undo whatever we need to undo. And I'm going to put parentheses because parentheses also means multiplication. And one other symbol, a little dot means multiplication. So let's look at the example. X divided by 6 equals 3. So I see a fraction, which means I see division, and I need to use multiplication to undo. So I'm going to multiply by that number that's on the bottom of the fraction, and I get the solution. X is equal to 3 times 6, which is 18. And I can substitute that back into my original equation. 18 divided by 6 equals 3. Well, 18 divided by 6 is 3, And 3 does equal 3, so I know I did that correctly. And the last example on our division, when we see multiplication, so it can be in many forms. We can have a little x, we can have a little dot, we could have parentheses. We're going to use division to undo that. So let's look at the example. 3x is equal to -2. So I'm going to make a little note down here. Anytime we have a number and a letter side by side, we need to divide. When we see a number and a letter side by side, we need to divide. So I'm going to divide by that 3. So my solution, x is equal to -2 divided by 3, which is -0.6 repeating. And again, I can substitute that back into my original equation. 3 times -0.6 repeating is equal to -2. 3 times -0.6 is equal to -2. And -2 does equal -2, so I know I did that correctly. So go ahead and pause the video and get our properties, our words, and our examples written down before we move on to the next example. All right, now that we've gone over all of the one-step examples, let's go over a two-step example. So we're going to be combining multiple steps. So first thing that I see a subtraction of 1. So I'm going to use the opposite of that, and I'm going to use a +1 to undo that. I'm going to draw my line, and I'm going to add 1 on both sides of my equal sign. So it's going to look like that. So now I'm going to bring down that 4x, and that's going to equal 11 plus 1, which is 12. And I'm still not done because I still have a 4x is equal to. I don't have just x is equal to. So now, since it's side by side, that means we need to divide. So I see 4 multiplied by x, so I'm going to use a divide by 4. I got to do the opposite. So on this side, I'll write divide by 4. On this side, I'll write divide by 4. And then I have a solution. X is equal to 12 divided by 4, which is equal to 3. So my solution is always going to be x equals a number. And we'll just check our solution like we did with all the one-step examples. So we substitute that 3 back into our original equation. So 4 times 3 minus 1 equals 11. Well, 4 times 3 is 12 minus 1 equals 11. 12 minus 1 is 11, and that does in fact equal 11. That is true, so we know we did it correctly. So it's a good habit to always check your solutions. So if you need to pause the video and get caught up, go ahead, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next page in the next video.